Welcome to Onto Islam and the Becoming Muslim podcast. This is a short clip by Calisha Bennett, who is a personal development coach who helps Muslims to become better believers. We interviewed Calisha in episode number 2 of this podcast series. In this clip, she explains how someone listened to that episode and then contacted her. The lady that contacted her wanted her daughter to grow up as a Muslim, and she is also thinking about becoming Muslim. Listen as Calisha shares some useful points about Islam.
Assalamu alaikum, people. I wanted to share with you a few points of reminder from something beautiful that happened today, that happened early this morning. So I had a lady reach out to me, I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, requesting to have a chat because she listened to a podcast interview that I was a part of, and she wanted to talk about Islam, and she's not Muslim herself, and she's all the way in the US. So I wanted to share some takeaways that I had from this conversation with her. And the takeaways are, I'll start off with them in bullet points and then I'll elaborate on them, inshallah. I wanted to talk about the importance of speaking about Islam whenever you can, any opportunity that you have to talk about this beautiful deen, take up that opportunity. I want to talk about the importance of your own Islam being a priority, or your own spiritual journey being a high priority, number one priority in your life. I want to talk about the power of good conduct of Muslims, especially as a form of da'wah, being people of good akhlaq and living a good example. So obviously this lady has reached out to me on a social media platform because she grabbed onto my name as she listened to this podcast. So she had spent last weekend with a Muslim family that she knew through a previous marriage that she was in, and their beautiful conduct and the way they carried themselves has always resonated with her. And she reflected that day she spent time with them at the beauty of their way of life, of what they have in their religion, even though she's not part of their community due to the breakdown of the marriage that she was a part of, where the individual wasn't the best example of a Muslim. So that time with them really caused her to reflect, and it was kind of an impetus for her to go and Google search and look up, I think she looked up like what to do if you're thinking about becoming a Muslim. And through that word search, the podcast came up, subhanAllah, where I was interviewed by brother Adee Macdowell, who has the Unto Islam podcast. Quite new. He interviews different converts around the world, and I'm not a convert myself, but I've done a lot of work with converts, and I'm the daughter of a convert to Islam. And he did an interview with me early on, and subhanAllah, somehow it's reached this woman all the way in the US. And why did I participate in that podcast? Because we were going to talk about Islam, we were going to talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the journey of wholeheartedly understanding Islam, being sincere, the importance of supporting converts with their struggles in that journey. We spoke about all sorts of things, and actually ended up doing two interviews with brother Adee. So the power of speaking about Islam whenever you have the opportunity. You don't know who will be on the listening end of that, and you don't know when in that person's life what you said in that in that imparting of Islamic teachings or wisdom, you don't know when in their life it will come up for them and potentially open their heart to Islam. So this lady literally said she found the podcast, she listened to it, and she actually listened to it every day, as well as a couple of other episodes. And she said it just resonated with her. I think in one of the conversations that we had in the podcast, it was about Islam being, a personal journey, that your practice is something that you are, accountable for and responsible for, that it's obviously not an overnight transformation and things like that. A lot of things resonated with her, and she said she could feel throughout the week that her heart really opened up, and that she felt on the Monday, the day, right after she had these realizations and listened to the interview, she said, I went to work, and Mondays normally I don't feel too good about it being Monday, and she said that she felt a sense of peace and a sense of calm that she hadn't felt before. And she said she knew it was because she'd found something that she didn't even realize she was looking for. So interesting, the fact that she said that, she expressed that she found something that she didn't realize she was looking for, that she needed in her life. She was actually reflecting on, what path or what guidance can she impart on her child. As a single mother, the child has a Muslim father that she's no longer married to, but she's obviously the sole carer of this child, and he was wondering what responsibility do I have to this young child? What pathway, what guidance can I give this child in life? And that's been her pressing question that's been in the forefront of her mind. And spending time amongst the Muslims that she knew caused her to realize that this way of life is what I want for my child. And as much as she's saying, I want this for my child, she reflected that she also she reflected that if she wants this guidance and this clarity, this truth, this morality for her child, then she should want it for herself. And she and I, kind of reflected that this is often the case when it comes to mothers. We can be so selfless in our wanting the best for our children, and we forget ourselves in the equation. And coming to guidance, coming to the truth, coming to Islam, it's got to be something that you do selfishly, because your intended goal is to save yourself, save your soul, and to inspire and illuminate your heart and soul first and foremost, before you want that for your family and your loved ones. So an awesome reminder there about your Islam, your spiritual journey being a priority for you before it is for anyone else. And unfortunately, how often is it where parents want to put their kids in Islamic schools, Islamic learning and madrasas, Islamic Quran classes, but the parents themselves aren't embarking on that same learning or making that same effort or commitment to their Islamic or spiritual journeys. So as much as we say we want our kids to be better than us, of course we should want our kids to be better than us, but why don't we become better in the first place? Why don't we step up to our fullest, I always talk about potential, but why don't we step up to our fullest potential as examples to our kids and race them to become better and race them to become the best? Don't expect that, our children have to, kind of top everything that we've done and achieved in our own lives, and for that to allow us to play small. So, remember that your faith, your spirituality, your goals should be a priority just as much as you want that same thing for your child. And obviously the lesson that I took from this conversation I had with this lady this morning is the power and the impact of good conduct as da'wah. And were it not for these Muslim women that she had been spending time with, living such beautiful, wholesome examples in front of her, perhaps this da'wah, or she wouldn't have, Allah knows best, but perhaps she wouldn't have found the gem of realization which she has just come across. Because obviously there is some, there's trauma from the previous relationship with a Muslim that was a bad example. But what has countered that, alhamdulillah, has been the conduct of the other Muslims that she has known. And this is actually not so common. Often when, a sincere woman, embarks on a relationship and it goes sour or goes bad, or the relationship breaks down, a bad example was led from that particular Muslim. Too often we see those precious women, those precious sisters kind of fall away from the community or fall away from Islam altogether. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen our revert brothers and sisters and keep them with us in the deen. So following on from this conversation, alhamdulillah, we ask Allah to guide this beautiful lady. She's very, very close, inshallah, to embracing Islam. And we're hoping to hear some good news, inshallah, where she's ready to make that decision. We've connected her with support, and amazingly, we have awesome sources of global support in our ummah. I was able to share with her a free introduction to Islam course that I recorded previously and gave her the links to that. We've got some resources from Tenfold, which provide an amazing pack called the My Belief Pack that's going out to her on Monday morning. And I've also, got a contact in the US who I quickly messaged and said, do you have anyone for physical support? Because she wants to go to a mosque. She wants to establish some Muslim friends in her city, in her town. Can you link us up? And alhamdulillah, within like literally minutes, we were able to find someone for her to link up with. So, those stepping stones, the support structure is right there, and we're trying to provide that for our dear sister, should she choose to embrace Islam wholeheartedly, and then inshallah her child will grow up upon Islam, and Allah knows what the ripple effect of that will be in terms of other people coming to the deen or knowing about the deen. So many reminders and so many lessons. When she first started talking, I gave her the floor, and she just told me her situation, and I had like a big lump in my throat. I just felt like crying just hearing her explain what had kind of been laid out into where she was at that moment in front of me, halfway across the world, expressing her desire and sincerity in wanting to step towards Islam and seeing it as the haqq, the truth, the light and the guidance for her life and for her future, knowing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put every step in place, from the podcast to her having that time with those Muslim women, to her searching it and the Google search that came up, to her listening to it repetitively throughout the week. We just, subhanAllah, don't know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can and will use us for the benefit and the guidance of others. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always use us for good, and to make us sincere, and to keep us on Islam, and allow countless other people to see the truth of this beautiful faith, so that we can have a stronger community. We can have more people acknowledging the reality of the existence of Allah, and to worship Him alone without partners, because that's why we're here. We're here to recognize, obey, worship and live lives in devotion to that one Creator. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen us. Ameen. Jazakallah khair, everybody. And thank you for holding space while I told that story. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep our hearts soft and sincere in this faith. Assalamu alaikum.